The last thing I want to see on David Letterman is you guys come out and then all of a sudden the drummer's singing. Like, what's going on? And it's kind of nice to sit down there in the nice calm quiet with a couple cups of coffee, and then you're ready to go straight into early morning shredding brutality. Well, I hope I didn't let you down. The wolf is loose.
Well, to all of you out there watching, please welcome Brann Dailor from Mastodon to Drumeo. What's up, Brann? How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing? It was good once I started to get into it. It was.
I've wanted to do this stream with you for a long time, and it's crazy sitting here. Like I feel the air coming out of the drums, like onto my arm.
It is windy in here.
It's windy. They told us it would be, and it actually is.
Yeah.
And for any of you who don't know Brann, you're a founding member of Mastodon. You're one of the 3 vocalists as well. So we're gonna get into some singing and stuff later. We got the mic.
My friend.
And I don't know how you do both at the same time, but you're all gonna get to see how he does it. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, the author of Brann Dailor's 101 Clowns of the Coronavirus. Let's get a nice close-up on that. You drew all these clowns.
Yeah.
That's like the Gene Simmons.
It is, yeah. Don't show that one.
Yeah.
Copyright.
So, yeah, you're the first person I've known who's done a book like this.
Yeah.
It's rad.
Hopefully not the last.
We'll see. Maybe there's a volume 2 coming out.
Yeah, Coronavirus Part 2.
Maybe not.
That would be awesome.
You guys are touring all through this year. You've got a tour announced with Lamb of God.
Yeah, Lamb of God. We both had albums come out on the same day, on the same year. Ashes of the Wake and Leviathan in 2004. And
crazy.
So we've been talking about it we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
I've known the Lamb of God guys since they were Burden of Priests, so a lot of history there. And we've toured together before. We toured with Slayer together, we toured with Metallica together. But we never did a joint tour like this.
Yeah.
So played a lot of stuff off Leviathan already, but it'll be cool to dust off some of the stuff that we haven't played in a while.
I had no idea those records came out on the same day.
Yeah. I remember going.
Crazy.
I remember somebody telling me to go to Best Buy to see Leviathan on the shelf at a store, like that, a big chain store. And I went there and it was right side by side with Lamb of God, so it was like the 2 big new metal albums that year.
Also, we do this kind of stuff inside of Drumeo all the time. We've got Brann here. We do this on YouTube, but we have lots of stuff in the members area. So all the songs that Brann's playing today, I think we've got 5 in total. They're all going to be transcribed with drumless tracks, so you can get note for note exactly what he did on the records and all that good stuff. So drumeo.com/trial, and you can check all that stuff out. Now, I was also told there's something new on the kit, and I'm not going to say what, but there might be something new coming soon this year or later this year.
Yeah.
So throughout this lesson, you may see or hear it, and I'm going to leave it there. That's all I've been authorized to say, and I don't think
maybe
Brann's...
it's like this. No, that's already...
new cymbal
that
felt.
was no, that was already there. Yeah, I signed, signature cymbal felt.
Yeah, nice. Before we get into the next track, what's on the bass drum head? People are talking about it in the chat.
Well, you're going to be embarrassed to find out that is the dog Precious from the movie Silence of the Lambs. Not just a little indie film.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But a lot of people have come up to me after the gigs and are like, "Is that your dog?" And no, it's not my dog, and you're going to be bummed out when I tell you who it is. So it's Precious from Silence of the Lambs. A lot of people don't recognize her without Buffalo Bill kind of coddling her when she was, dragged into the well, chasing after a chicken bone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Precious.
Doesn't always end well, but
No.
now Precious is on the bass drum. So
Right. I think Precious got out of there alive. I hope.
you'll have to go watch it to find out.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into things, let's do another track.
Okay.
We've got The Wolf is Loose.
Wolf. Yeah, this is a fast one and
Yeah.
lots of single stroke rolls.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But even before the live stream started, people in the chat were like, "What's going on in the drum intro? We're gonna see you play it, but how did you come up with that?"
I'm always looking for a spot to put a drum intro. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but this is one of the dictaphone songs from back in the day where I had my little dictaphone, my tapes and stuff,
Yeah.
and wrote this. And I remember going over to Brent's house with an acoustic and playing him the first riff, and he's like, "Okay, cool, like some punk rock shit." I was, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very kind of crusty punk stuff, that we're all into back then. His Hero's Gone and Tragedy and stuff like that that we were listening to. So we wanted to have one of those kind of songs too.
Nice.
And the intro just kind of was born from, how do we get into this riff? Do we just want to smash into it, or we want a little something to lead into it? And so, I don't know, it just sounded like, the whole song to me just sounded like you were being chased by a wolf. And when I was a kid, I remember seeing this movie called The Dead Zone with Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
And that line from the movie just always stuck with me. He had grabbed the hand of his doctor at the time, and it was right when he had come out of his coma. And he was about going to tell the doctor that his mother was alive. You know, they had escaped. They had escaped Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
And he looked up at the doctor and he said, "The wolf is loose." And I was just like, man, that just sounds badass to me.
Yeah. And the song was born.
Yeah. Woof woof.
All right, man. Let's do it. Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
I have no idea how you do that for a whole set. I think I remember seeing you guys playing in Vancouver. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. And I think because the kit is set up so low, like your cymbals and everything are pretty accessible.
Yeah.
But from where I was sitting, you couldn't really see like how crazy you were moving around, and sitting here, it's just insane.
That guy's crazy.
He's insane.
What are they feeding him? Oh, I had a banana and a power bar.
You know, the goods.
Yeah, I don't know, you know, Overplayers Anonymous.
Nice. I do want to talk about, we've talked about single strokes this week. I think like you have a way of using single strokes around the kit that it doesn't feel like it ever gets old. Like you have so many different ways that you use them with grooves and fills. So what's the deal with you and single strokes?
I don't know. It really just was pointed out to me from other people. I didn't really think too much about it. I just was going about my business. You know? They're like, why are you use a lot of single strokes. I was like, yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
It sounds good to me, and it fits a lot of the stuff that I do. And like I said, like I told you before, I'm the Mexican food of drummers, where it's all the same ingredients. It's you know, put into different a burrito, a taco, just put it in a bowl.
Yeah.
It all tastes pretty good to me, though.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. And so, like, your background, you said you didn't take many drum lessons. Your whole kind of like approach to playing drums was just playing with, I think you said guitar players originally?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I finally started to have like people coming over the house, get dropped off by their mom, you know, bring their amp over. It was mostly guitar players. Never, I don't know, bass players. I think back then, like when you're 13 or so, like you initially want to play the guitar.
Yeah.
If you're going to take up an instrument, you know, you have to have really cool parents to play the drums.
Yes.
Especially back then, there wasn't really a lot of like electronic options. So
yeah, shout out to all the parents out there.
Shout out to the parents.
Yeah.
So you know you're going to be listening to, and hey, a lot of parents are they're awesome. They want to hear the progress of their kid like learning an instrument. They got an interest in something. It's a cool thing.
Yeah.
But for some parents, it's not really doable. You know, this instrument doesn't have a volume knob.
Yeah.
And so you either have to have a massive home and an attic that's really far away and well insulated, or you're just gonna kind of be doing that. But my mom, you know, she grew up in a house that my grandparents were in a band, and her brother, my uncle, was a drummer.
Yeah.
And then at our house when I was very small, there was lots of musicians there. My mom was in a band, and so we always had the jam spot.
Yeah.
And so it was sort of when kids would come over and get dropped off, they had guitars, and you know. But when it came to like writing original music, it was also guitar players come to my house and they'd be playing something busy, and I would sort of link up with it.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until years later I found out you're supposed to be playing with the bass player and like locking in with that guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is that guy?
Yeah.
He's not down here.
He didn't come over to my house.
Eric's here. Where's the bass player? No idea.
Yeah.
So it's not until, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that there's not kids that, you know, wake up one day and they're like, man, I want to play the bass.
Yeah.
But back then, at least, it was like foisted upon someone. Hey, you want to hang out with us while we're jamming? Well, you got to do something. So
Yeah.
we already got a guitar player, so you need to play the bass. Okay, I'll play the bass. You know.
Definitely more few and far between.
Yeah,
I would say.
unfortunately. But yeah, so that's sort of like, you know, how I got so busy. Plus, you know, at the time, the kids I was jamming with were really into like, or trying to get into like technical music, you know, mathy, technical metal, you know, like Atheist and Death and stuff like that. So it's very like notey. I'm like, oh, I'll just do that on my toms. You know.
Yeah.
Follow along like that. So that's how it all came together for me. But now I sort of try to mix it, you know what I mean? Like I try to pay attention to my boy Troy, because we, you know, we're the foundation, we lock it down. But then I like to go out and if I hear something that I want to link up with, you know, guitar-wise, then I'll go do that.
Yeah. And then I found it pretty interesting, like years ago, even reading interviews and stuff with you, you're talking about the drummers that you grew up listening to. I was surprised to see like a bunch of fusion guys, and Phil Collins was on there. Like,
oh yeah.
You had a pretty like diverse list of drumming influences. So who are like some of your key guys growing up?
Elvin Jones. I mean, Phil Collins is my guy.
Yeah.
I love that early work that he did with Genesis, and even into the pop stuff when he was still playing drums on a lot of that. It was like a very like cleverly disguised pop music where you got odd time signatures happening. You know, I felt like it was their mission to write this really popular music but camouflage it with prog, and they're there, you know, and be like, well, we're not going to completely lose that side of ourselves. And then with the metal guys, it was heavily Mickey D, King Diamond. You know, when I was a kid, I really fell in love with King Diamond, and the drumming on that like blew me away. And you know, Nico McBrain and Clyde Burr, Iron Maiden, Simon Phillips with Priest, Dave Lombardo, big guy for me. Lars was huge as well.
Yeah.
Lars was like, you know, when you're trying to play along with Angel of Death when you're 12, it's like, this is really difficult.
Good luck.
And I'm not saying that what Lars was doing was easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it was, you could like do a version of it that was, you could create a version of it that was doable, that like at least you could learn the structure of the song. And I think myself and all the metal people that are probably around my age and even younger, even older, kind of cut their teeth learning Metallica covers. Metallica was the biggest band in the world at that point in time, you know, and so everybody was a Metallica fan. But as far as like trying to learn how to be in a band, you know, we all would butcher versions of For Whom the Bell Tolls and and One and just all the songs that were that anybody could come over and try to muster.
Yeah.
You know.
So is that weird for you, like Elvin Jones as one and Lars on the other end of the spectrum? When you were jamming with people, like, were you finding that stuff from both of those guys was coming out, or did you talk about your influences with other people and people be like, hold on, you're listening to Coltrane, but then Slayer? Like, was that a weird thing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I had a couple friends that were sort of on the same page. My buddy Jeff was also a drummer, and his dad was a jazz guy, you know, so he also was into that, you know, even though we couldn't do it, and, you know, we didn't even know how to approach it. But there was like with Elvin, I feel like, you know, there was just a vibe to it, you know,
like
that
an
was
energy.
Like, he's kind of just floating around. He's holding it down, of course, but you know, he's kind of floating around that one and just kind of just beautiful playing, and it spoke to me.
Nice, man. I'm stoked for the next track we're gonna do.
What do we got? I can't remember.
We've got The Last Baron.
Oh, okay.
So this is one that Brann, you sent me like last week.
Yeah, I was
or a
like,
week and a half ago. You're like, I think I'm gonna do this on the live.
I'm gonna try it. It's a long one, so we'll give it a shot.
This is probably the longest song you guys have recorded.
Yeah, if I screw up in the middle, I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah, keep going. Nice, let's do it.
The Twinklers.
You threw in some double strokes there at the end.
You like that? I can do them.
Dude, what a freaking song.
I'm ready to go home now.
When's the last time you played that live?
It wasn't too long ago. We did a tour of the whole album with Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah.
In the States. We did I think it was the 10-year anniversary.
Where was that in the set? Was that like later on once you're warmed up, or was that pretty close off
Last
the top?
Baron is the last song. So it was like, that album was almost an hour. I think we were doing an hour and 10, so we'd like play all of Crack the Sky and then do, I don't know, 3 or 4 more pseudo hits or whatever.
Yeah, dude, just like how that song goes from like section to section and like key groove to different feel altogether is just crazy.
Yeah, that's like a Brent special right there. You know, it's like got all the bells and whistles and yeah, that was. I remember that keeping me up at night trying to figure out just as a group how to put that all that whole thing together and squeezing that middle section in. That kind of a little bit of YYZ-ish thing
like
going on there.
All the stuff where you're like stretching the time and following the guitar riff and all that. Like
yeah,
there's no click going on for that section either.
There's no no click. For recording this song, I think we were talking about it the other day, but it was my first time using a click, and throughout this song, and because it's so long, and we were using 2-inch tape, so we had to do it in full sweeps. There was no do it in sections, then we'll just paste it together or whatever. It was just like, just play the song, which you should be able to do.
You should be able to do that.
I think it's a weird thing nowadays. It's like, what? Play the whole song?
Yeah.
It's like, you're gonna do it live. So he was fading the click in and out, like while I was playing the song. So like different sections, if he wanted me to be locked in, he'd be like, the click was all of a sudden there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Focus.
But especially because of the fact that it's bookended and the beginning and the end are so, that's a chill vibe right there. You know what I mean? And so going through that almost, probably 8 or 9 minutes worth of all that craziness.
Yeah.
Once you come out on the end, there's probably guys that can do it that are more skilled than I am, but for me personally, when I get done doing all that crazy stuff, coming back into something very slow like that would seem like in my mind to try to go down to that speed would be so. It just would be way faster than the beginning, and you just sit there forever being like, look, I'm trying to play as slow as I can, but my perception after like doing all that work is different. You know what I mean? So you're hearing it, you're like, man, it sounds so slow, but it's the same speed as it was in the beginning. So using the click for something like that is really beneficial, just because it takes the guesswork out of it. You're like, and if you want something to be a specific mood, which a lot of those slower sections, like you're gonna lose the vibe if it gets faster or even slower. You know what I mean? It's so if you find a tempo that everybody agrees on, and you love the way that it hits, like emotionally during that part, then you sort of lock into that, and you're like, okay, click it is. But I like using click now. Yeah,
and is that something you guys have done a lot since, where you're fading in click at certain sections and songs, or are you pretty much just Pro Toolsing it?
Well, I still have that person in me that's like, I'm doing the full song. It doesn't matter to me that you have access to Pro Tools. I will say it takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe you do even get like a better performance, because when you're using 2-inch tape, there's a lot of you tighten up because you don't want to screw up, because especially with a song like that, it's 14 minutes. Like if you screw up 3/4 of the way through it, you're like, oh man, I got to go back to the beginning again.
Yeah,
we're gonna be here all day, and I don't even want to do this much work.
Yeah.
But I think that Pro Tools, it can be freeing in that way, but I don't really love using it, like especially when we're recording our songs. Like I want to at least prove to myself that I can play the whole thing from start to finish, because like I said, we're gonna have to do it live anyway, so you might as well just play it. And also, if you play the whole song live like 5 times, then I'll do like 2 versions of it where the fills are like way out.
Yeah.
Like I'll go way out of the realm of, that's just like ridiculousness.
Yeah, just to try
just to see if there's anything, because a lot of my playing is happy accidents. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just stumble upon something and be like, oh, that was cool. See if I can recreate it. Nope.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Love that, man. I want to talk a bit about singing and playing drums. The next track we have coming up is the Motherload.
I'm so tired now. I don't know if
I know. Maybe we should just end now and see you all later.
All good. I'll give it a shot, you know.
But how did you get into singing and playing? You've talked about Phil, who of course was doing that all the time.
Yeah, and I didn't envy him when I would watch those old videos. I'd be like, oh, poor Phil. He's got to put the bid on, you know.
Yeah.
Well, in the early days of driving around in the van with the guys, you know, we'd always be listening to. If you were driving, you had control of the stereo. So,
yeah.
But we all liked each other's taste in music, so it wasn't like a problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't like one guy was, oh man, don't put that on again. I don't like that. But anyways,
Stop.
yeah. So I'd be singing along to Stevie Wonder and Iron Maiden and all that stuff, and little did I know, you know, I think Brent was like clocking in his head, like, one day you're gonna be doing some singing, buddy. But it was Oblivion. A lot of times in the past, if I wrote any kind of lyrics, you know, we all contribute lyric-wise, and like if anybody has an idea in Mastodon, it gets brought to the table, you know, because we need all of us to make our music together, and all ideas are welcome, and then we sort of have a vote, or it's not even a vote, you know, it's like a tryout. Like, hey, I got an idea. You go in the vocal booth and you're like, what about this? And either it's like a unanimous, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Or I think we can do better, you know, something diplomatic that won't hurt anybody's feelings.
Love it.
You know, so I would go in there sometimes and I would sing something, and then either Troy or Brent would go in and sing over top of it, just use it as like a template and do their own thing with it. But this one particular case, because of the fact that the music had, I don't want to say mellowed out, but it did a little bit, you know, and it got in more of the progosphere where we were wanting to go with Crack the Sky, you know, and Brent had written this whole, like almost like an opera, it seemed like, you know, he wrote all his music. It was really amazing and labyrinthine, but there was a lot of chill moments to it, and we were just like, yeah, let's go that direction. That'll be cool. Be different, departure from Blood Mountain being so spastic and crazy. Not that it didn't have its spastic, crazy moments, but I went in and tried out my idea for Oblivion, and I sang over the verse there, and everyone seemed to like it, and Brent really liked it. And I was like, dude, I don't know if I can even pull that off, you know, like singing and playing. It seems really hard, so I never tried it. So we tried to get Troy to be the one that sang that part, you know, because first and foremost, Brendan O'Brien, legendary producer, was producing this album, and it was the first time we'd ever worked together.
Yeah.
And he said, no way in hell is the opening vocals going to be from the drummer and a singer that's never even sang on a Mastodon song before. Like, there's no way I'm doing that. And
That's
it was
so
the
good.
song that he thought was going to be like the hit of the album, you know what I mean? So he was totally against it. And I was in his corner. I was like, yeah, I was terrible. Let's not do that, you know? He's like, the last thing I want to see on David Letterman is you guys come out and then all of a sudden the drummer's singing. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, which happened. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
The rest is history.
Yeah. So there you go. It started there, and Troy, I got really close and it sounded really good, and then we were all in the control room listening back and listening to Troy. And everyone was like, yeah, that's pretty good. And Brent's like, yeah, it sounds really good. Let's hear Browns again. And he put mine on, and Brent looked at me and he was like, sorry, buddy. Like, you're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm like, dude, let me just go home and I can just kind of work on it and see if it's even doable before we commit to it. Because I don't want to commit to something I can't actually do. And you know, it's taken me this long to even, like, I still have trouble sometimes, you know, especially with, like, you know, there's not a lot of banter in between our songs, and I have trouble catching my breath, especially if we do like a Wolf is Loose and I'm out of breath. I can play drums, but singing is a whole other ball game. It's like I told you, it's like singing on an elliptical machine or something. Like, so try that next time you're at the gym on the elliptical, start running and be like, okay, I'm gonna sing a song now.
Yeah, and some people in the chat were even saying, like, if you were a Don Henley with the Eagles or something, it's different if you're just laying down like just kind of pocket grooves, but you're playing what you're playing while singing.
Right.
So it's kind of a different beast.
So I have to belt everything that I sing, so I can you know, not have it be like, you know what I mean?
And then do you have to set up, like, when you started singing on that record, did your setup change at all because now you have to lean over and use the mic?
I don't. This is not my usual. Usually I have a gooseneck thing that comes around, so it's like here for me. But that even, it inhibits me a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nice, man.
Drink of water. Any cool questions in there?
Yeah, we got some good ones. My favorite one, this one's from Stidger in the Drumeo members area, asking about how long does it take to write some of these complex parts. So are you, like, how long is your cycle when you guys are writing? Is this like 9 months to a year of you guys just kind of jamming together and figuring stuff out? Or is this like, we're doing this song now and within 2 weeks it's done?
I'd say it's kind of all over the place, you know, like an album like Leviathan. I feel like it came together really quickly because it was a while ago.
Yeah.
It was a different time for everybody's lives, you know what I mean? As people, you know, we had, you know, everybody had girlfriends and stuff, but and jobs. So we were primarily working at night, and you know, we weren't necessarily like on heavy duty tour yet, you know, and we were still kind of in clubs and really playing in like basements and VFW halls in the States. And, you know, we had gone to Europe a couple times on remission, but we didn't take much time. We got together like every night. Nowadays, it's, you know, people got kids and you know, just life gets in the way, but life just happens, you know, to people.
Things take longer.
Yeah, that's so. But I say when we get down to business, like what's going to happen very soon in the next like week or so, like starting in a couple weeks, we're going to start getting together. And honestly, I feel like for us, when we really bear down and concentrate on it, it comes together relatively quickly. You know, but we're constantly writing, so we're always like collecting ideas and we're filling up the bag of riffs. And then when we get home, we dump out the bag of riffs and sort through them and see what we got. Yeah. And really, it's all about that crop of songs and what it's going to be. Now, the last album ended up being a double album, an hour and a half long worth of music, and it was quite the undertaking. Come to find out, hey, a double album, it's twice the work. Who knew? Yep. But as far as my drum parts, I try to exhaust every possibility that I can think of. You know what I mean? And I go through it, and a lot of times I'll get the riffs, just the bare riffs, like 3 or 4 riffs that are strung together that are going to maybe be a song, and have Bill send them to me, and I get a click with them, and I can go in my basement and get a little like pre-production work done on it, so that when we get in there and start jamming, I already kind of have an idea of what I want to do. And then sometimes I'll exhaust every single thing and end up coming back to the original idea that I had right from the gut. You know what I mean? But something like Last Baron, it's hard for me to remember how some of those things came together, but and one of my favorite beats is in that song. Just using all the toms and stuff. It's kind of fun.
I mean, probably so much of it is just based on the music itself. It's not like, put this pattern here. It's what's going on in the riff and what's going on in the music and the vibe.
Of course, you want to like, I don't know. I'm definitely one that, you know, I want to feel the music, you know, I want to get the hairs on the back of my neck standing up, and then that sort of informs what the rhythms are going to sound like. And you know, I'm not, you know, I think a lot of people think that I'm just throwing fills wherever willy-nilly, but I do put a lot of time and preparation into every single fill that I do and every part, and to me it makes sense.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Exactly. You know.
Well, let's let you get some water, and then let's do the Motherload. And here's some of those pipes.
Yeah, let's hear the pipes. I've been talking so much. I got the lyrics right here because I haven't played this song since pre-pandemic. I haven't played this song.
Nice.
And so I need the crutch. I'm like, what the hell's the lyrics? I probably couldn't remember the lyrics if I played it every single day.
I can see you scribbled out.
Scribbled out Troy's part.
Yeah. So Brann's not going to sing those.
You don't need me singing Troy's part. I'm not a good at Troy impersonator.
We'll hear those in the tracks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. If I mess up, I'm gonna keep going. Okay.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. All right. This is the Motherload. Like riding a bike.
Yeah.
That was great, man. Well, we're almost at the end, and
So sad.
the hour's gone fast. But before we wrap,
That song was for my mom, actually.
yeah, dedicated to your mom.
My mom had suffered a traumatic brain injury. She went into the hospital. She was in a coma, and it was right when we were going into the studio to record that album. I didn't have any lyrics for that song and several songs on Once More Around the Sun.
Yeah.
And she came really close to dying, and she was in a coma for about a month. And so those guys went and carried on without me. I'd already done all my drum tracks, but I had to come in and start singing.
Yeah.
But I went to Rochester, and I was there with my mom, and so a lot of the songs sort of took shape around that experience, and it was basically the doctor saying, go in and talk to her because she can hear you.
Yeah.
And so I was telling her that if she woke up, everything was going to try my hardest to make everything better, you know.
That's awesome.
So the Motherload.
The Motherload.
Love you, Mom.
There's a deeper meaning.
Always, you
Always.
know.
Do you have any final words before we wrap up?
I just want to thank everybody that works at Drumeo for having me, all you guys in the control room and everybody that came pick me up in the morning, and you and just everybody here at Drumeo has been so cool, and it's been such an awesome experience to be surrounded by awesome drummers, and just it's been so much fun. And I just love your content, and I love what you're doing for
Thanks.
drumming, and I love what you're doing for music, and I love just everything about it. So I'm just happy to be here, and I'm so happy that you guys have me. And
You're always welcome. And
sweet.
I'm sure this will only be the first.
yeah,
First of
man.
many
I need to
things.
come up for a Canucks Jets game sometime because
Yeah,
I'm
man.
a big Winnipeg Jets fan.
We can go hang at the arena.
Let's do it.
Great.
But yeah, thank you.
Of course, man. It's an honor to have you here. I think I said at the beginning, you've been one of the most requested drummers in the last 10 years.
Oh,
So
sweet.
I'm stoked we finally made it happen.
Yeah.
And no longer do we have to deal with all the comments saying,
That's right.
you gotta have Brann, you gotta have Brann.
Well, I
We did
hope
it.
I didn't let you down.
There you go, a little ditty for you. Nice. Before we close out with the last song, all the songs that Brann has played today, drumless tracks and transcriptions are available in the Drumeo members area at drumeo.com/trial. And you can check all that stuff out and get into the album versions and study Brann's playing even deeper. So you can check all that stuff out. We're going to be closing with Pushing the Tides from Hushed and Grim.
Yeah, this is Pushing the Tides. It was the first riff is a riff I wrote over at Bill's house early in the morning. I had way too much coffee, and I just went
Nice.
in there, and it was like, so we got into it like we like to do. Once in a while, when Bill's got some ideas, he'll hit me up early because he knows I get up early,
Yeah.
and I'll go over there, and it's kind of nice to sit down there in the nice calm quiet with a couple cups of coffee, and then just try to write the most brutal music possible.
Some early morning shreds.
early morning shredding brutality.
I love it.
Even, just right after that bowl of Cheerios, you're ready to go
Yeah.
straight into it. Yeah.
Some brutal riffs.
Cool, I
man.
gotta sing this one too. Sheesh.
You got to sing this one too. Lots more stuff coming from Brann. We probably filmed 10 more videos for the YouTube channel. Bunch of cool stuff. So be on the lookout for all of that in the next few months, weeks, years. Who knows how long it'll take to get all this stuff out, but it's going to be good. So
Sweet.
sweet. This is Pushing the Tides. Take it away, man.